Hey, this is Justin with DayTradeTheMarkets.com on Friday, April 5th, and I wanted to look at a couple things. I wanted to look at a really active overnight session last night, which led to a pretty sizable gap down in the emini S&P today, and then talk about how we like to look when we have a gap open, how we like to look at whether it's likely to fill the gap or whether we're likely to continue in that direction. So you can see this is our 1 minute chart from today's regular trading hours. Let me throw on last night's overnight chart, which you can see here. Now this happens to be a 3 minute chart. The one before was a 1 minute chart. On the overnight, I just like to use a little bit longer term, like a 3 minute, to give me a little bit wider look because the overnight trade's so slow. And just as an aside, as I'm sure most of you know, most markets these days trade nearly 24 hours. But the type of trade that occurs, in the overnight session or the extended trading hours can differ quite a bit between the regular trading hours. So what we like to do on our shorter term day trading charts is we like to, certainly you want to look at basically all 24 hours of the day. We just recommend breaking it into two separate charts, and we have a special overnight setting that is a little less sensitive, so it gives you some really good opportunity in the overnight if you happen to like to trade the overnight. I typically don't trade the overnight. I just like to look at what's happening, but that's what we recommend. That's why I've got it on two charts here. I know some people use the 24-hour session. Now on a longer term chart, a 15-minute or higher chart, using a 24-hour session is fine. But for day trading type charts, we certainly recommend keeping, looking at the full day, but keeping the overnight session and the regular trading hours as separate charts. So, just with that basically said, this was an interesting overnight. Obviously at 8, this is in Eastern time, and at 8:30 we had, basically a 10-point sell-off based on the employment news, which we knew was coming out. But you can see that we had some clues in the overnight ahead of that. You can see our first clue in the overnight was this level 3 selling aggression, and again, the same logic would apply that we talk about all the time in these videos if you're familiar with these, and if not, you can obviously click on the more videos link below and kind of get some more detail. But again, when a level 3 or extreme selling aggression bar comes in, we want to ask ourselves, can the high of that bar hold? And until the high of that bar is taken out, or until something else changes and some buying comes in, further down the road in the future, we have to assume that bears are in control of this market, at least in the overnight, in the short term. Okay, so you can see that we tested the high there, got a resistance zone a little bit later in the night. We tested there, got a few more selling aggression bars. Again, no buying aggression had come in. Here's a level 2 selling, here's another level 3 and another level 3. Then we break lower below this support zone on a high velocity move and another level 3 bar. We in fact get 2 in a row. We know that that's kind of our sweet spot there. When they overlap, that's an interesting trade opportunity as well. And so you can just see here that we had an attempted reaction back here with some good buying that was rejected quickly, so more selling, another 6-point sell-off here in the next hour or so. Another attempted reaction here, and we came down to where these two overlapped and had a little bit of a bounce, a 2-point bounce. But then when the news came out, we really took it out hard on this level 3 selling aggression bar, and you can see that led to a pretty sizable, if you just look at the regular trading hours, a pretty sizable gap down. Okay, so now here is our regular trading hour session, and you can see that obviously we had that. Looking at the chart I just showed in the overnight, we had a very strong sell-off in the overnight after the employment news especially, and we gapped down quite a bit from where, number one, from where we closed yesterday, and also what we look to be what we call a true gap from the close of yesterday, which was at, or the low is what I think I should have said, the low of yesterday, which was around 1547, right in here. So anyway you look at it, whether you're looking at the close of yesterday or the low of yesterday, we had a pretty sizable gap down, more than a 10-point gap down. It's pretty major. And so when we have a gap one way or the other, a lot of times gaps fill, a lot of times gaps just keep going, and it's the start of a huge move. But before we just guess or just assume that's going to happen, we like to look, and how we handle gaps is we like to look and see what the evidence shows. And so one of the ways that we do that is we like to look for the first major structure of the day, and that was this high velocity move, and it was made by buyers. So again, we want to ask ourselves, can the low of this hold? Okay, and we tested it. We didn't take out the low of the day, but we tested it, and we tested this support zone. So it was a little bit of an indecisive market at the beginning, where the first move was higher. It looked like we were going to make new lows, but we didn't, and you can see no selling came in. And then it wasn't until we got this what we call strong buying aggression bar, level 2 bar, that came in and then tested the low of that as well, that it's showing us there's really no selling that's coming into the market once the regular trading hours has opened. It's really just buying that's come in. You can see we had another buying bar that came in, that tested right into this resistance, a bit of a reaction, and so we have what we call a little bit of a battle where we have overlapping, level 2 bars there. So we kind of want to see what happens when we test both the high and low of those bars. And you can see and our filter had already gone dark green. We tested the low of this kind of battle zone, you could say, the low of this level 2 buying aggression bar, and held, decelerated, and then made new highs. Came back and tested the support zone a couple times. We didn't have a lot of aggression. We just kind of grinded higher. But again, what I'm trying to point out is, when you have a big gap one way or the other, do you want to just fall in line with it, or do you just want to assume that it's going to fill, or do you want to wait for some evidence? The first piece of evidence was here, although it was a little bit shaky. I mean, we rallied a few points after that came out. Then we tried and tested the low, and then we started to get some aggression bars, and those were showing us with this battle, especially once this so-called battle was won right in here, that was telling us who was in control of this market. And so you can see then the market, although there wasn't a lot of aggression after that, it just kind of grinded higher, tested the support zone a couple times, and then ground higher until the very, to the last half an hour or 45 minutes of the trading day, where we, rallied another 6 points on some pretty strong aggression, and then saw some selling come in and take us down 3 points from there. So, again, just wanted to look at, kind of a quick look at the just how you can look at this in the overnight session, and some clues that you can look, whether you trade that or whether you just want to look at that in the overnight, and then how you can translate that into the regular trading hours as well, and how you handle gaps and so forth. So hopefully that's helpful, and if you have any questions about this, let us know, and we'll be happy to answer them. Okay, have a great weekend, everyone. Talk to you soon.